Hi, today is Thursday, May 25th, 2023. Today is my payday. So what about like 8 a.m. today, there would be a lot of money in my bank account remitted by my company. So I will have some money to spend. And be happy and eat nice food. But sometimes I feel neglected at work, not because I look terrible, but because they people at work don't seem to recognize my strength, my point of view, or they don't respect my ideas. But it can be, I think that kind of feeling is most of times my strong subjective observation or feelings. So I could be wrong, but I guess everybody around the world sometimes feels the same way, in a minor way or in a major way. There's scale 1 to 100. It varies people to people. So we never know if there is ostracism at work. But let's assume there is an obvious ostracism, and let's find out how to deal with it or improve the situation. And also, I am trying to read this never read article by me to practice English by reading one English article each day. I live in Korea. I've never lived outside except as a tourist. I constantly need to practice English by reading English article and by listening to English news or watching comedy, stand-up comedy, or movies or documentaries on YouTube. So here we go. It's a purely academic effort on my part, no other reasons. Workplace. This article is from Survey Sparrow. Okay, it's a blog. Workplace ostracism. 7 ways it affects your employee engagement. Parvati Vijaya Mohan, 29th August 2023. 5-minute read. Can you recall this feeling you had while at school? The one you got when you inadvertently ended up sitting alone at the back of the class, or when you were the only one without a partner for a project, or when you had to eat lunch alone because no one called you or you couldn't find anyone to join. That same kind of feeling at work is a sign of workplace ostracism. Workplace ostracism. While there is a lot of discussion around workplace harassment, research shows that feeling ostracized at work has an equally severe impact on employee engagement. In this article, we will describe workplace ostracism, learn the effects of workplace ostracism on employee engagement, get tips for employees to recover from ostracism at work, get tips for employers to get a grip on ostracism at work. What is workplace ostracism? Workplace ostracism happens when an employee is ignored, excluded, or disregarded by their coworkers. Ignored, excluded, or disregarded. Workplace ostracism can be obvious, or it can be as subtle as a lack of response or a change in tone. It can leave the person wondering if others are overthinking things or simply imagining them. Uh, It can Workplace ostracism can be obvious, or it can be as subtle as a lack of response or a change in tone. A change, that's good sentence. A workplace ostracism can be obvious, or it can be as subtle as a change in tone or ignorance of response, a lack of response, right? Workplace ostracism can be obvious, or it can be as subtle as a lack of response or a change in tone. I don't like the change in your tone, right? It can leave the person wondering if others are overthinking things or simply imagining them. Overthinking things or simply imagining them. It brings us to a frequently asked question: is negative attention better than no attention? For the participants in this 2014 study, the answer seems to be yes. One reason is that, unlike harassment, workplace ostracism tends to be subtle. It's harder to describe. Feeling ostracized at work can also be subjective. For example, according to this blog by Bravely, while purposeful ostracism with malicious intent does exist, it isn't always the case. In unintentional ostracism, people don't mean to exclude others or even realize they are doing it. They could be succumbing to affinity bias, our tendency to be drawn to people similar to ourselves, have a communication style that clashes with yours, or simply have different expectations for your working relationship and not be aware that your expectations aren't being met. Effects of workplace ostracism on employee engagement. The survey questions in this employee engagement survey major areas that have proven time and again to be vital to employee engagement. Time and again to be vital to employee engagement. To be vital to employee engagement. Yeah, I'm sipping coffee. I am not a fan of coffee, but coffee brewing is faster than tea brewing. So quickie. You can test drive it with a free account. Oh, and you will also get a 14-day free access to all Survey Sparrow features. Get 14-day free access. Sign up for free. From the survey above, we will pick out 6 areas of employee engagement where work ostracism has an observable impact. Number 1, employee happiness. According to Professor Himandi Oberai's report, Exploring the Invisible Pain of Workplace Ostracism, when an employee is ostracized at work, this drains his positive resources in terms of support from people around him. Such adverse situations at work enhance his emotional exhaustion. In short, we draw energy from our bonds with the people around us. Ostracism is like an invisible energy vampire. It can drain us or make us angrier and more liable to lash out. Number two, employee motivation. The conservation of resources theory states that when someone faces a loss of resource or is threatened by such a loss, they tend to act in ways that protect that resource. So, in other words, to save your energy, ostracized employees will do the bare minimum to get through the day. This is good expression, man. So, in other words, in short, to put it the other way, to save their energy, ostracized employees will do their bare minimum to get through the day. Ostracized employees will do their bare minimum to get through the day. Ostracized people will do the bare minimum to get through the day, right? According to Oberai, when an employee perceives that he is being excluded by his social work group, he cannot look forward to them for any help for accomplishing his job assignments. So, how can the company motivate them to go beyond their role? Number three, opportunities to use strengths. Job related opportunities at work often come by due to their relationships with others. However, in an article exploring the effects of ostracism, Amar Ali Al Atwi argues that realistically speaking, ostracized employees won't get the same opportunities to showcase their strengths, so their contributions are majorly diminished. It is something to keep in mind while accessing an employee who seems to be underperforming. Are they getting the same opportunities as others? Number four, work resources. This element is not confined just to tools we use. It includes physical resources like equipment and intangible resources like information. Without these things, business goals are impossible to achieve. Feeling ostracized at work can be triggered by everything from being left out of group interactions to being left off of meeting invites. But the result is the same. The excluded employee misses out on information, on essential work areas that could help them do their job better. Number five,
상하이 말고 다른 데 없어?
알아봐요. Employee recognition. Ostracism doesn't always come in the form of harassment, explains Megan Van Vleck in her article Invisible Teams. Organizations that manage remote workforces, such as field services, are essentially vulnerable to unintentionally alienating remote employees simply because they aren't visible during the day-to-day at headquarters. To rub salt on the ground, many managers struggle with giving frequent employee recognition on time. To rub salt on the ground, never heard of the expression, but instinctively or intuitively I could see that it means to make things worse or to add an insult to injury, to rub salt on the ground, right? But let's find that out. Or the expression is confined or used only in India, we never know. So let's find that out. I think this article is from India, right? Rub salt on the ground. But good article, perfect English, right? I'll just go to dictionary.com or Urban Dictionary. Sorry, we couldn't find rub salt on the ground. So I think it's rubbing salt on the ground. Rubbing salt on the wound. When you make a matter worse or to make someone very unhappy, you are literally rubbing salt on the wound trying to say sorry to me. A phrase commonly said by a choir that is used when somebody is about to say something that needs to be said, but that might upset another person. Not to rub salt in the wound, but are you still gonna watch the Super Bowl, gay? Right? To rub salt on the wound. Oh, sorry, I thought ground. To rub salt on the wound or to make things worse or to make to add an insult to injury, right? To rub salt on the injury. To rub salt on the wound. Many managers struggle with giving frequent employee recognition on time. Number six, employee wellness. In her seminar, Dr. Jane O'Reilly pointed out that employees in a survey who felt ostracized at work not only felt less job commitment, but also reported way more health symptoms. Excluded employees experienced more headaches, back pains, muscle tension, all physiological signs of stress, and they also reported more psychological withdrawal. So they are physically present at work, but they weren't really completely putting their mind into their work. Number seven, that's Dr. Jane O'Reilly, not so social at work. Number seven, work culture. Why are some employees excluded while others quickly fit in? Some researchers believe that established attitudes and norms can be a cause. For example, a strict hierarchical work culture may ostracize employees who are too informal by their standards. Similarly, introverts are more likely to feel excluded in a workplace dominated by extroverts, especially if they are working remotely. Yeah, I think I'm an introvert. On the scale of 1 to 100, I am an introvert on like a 40 or 45. So I'm like sitting on the fence, but frequently I feel ostracized. Uh, there aren't many extroverts in my team, but I feel that they communicate better than me, and I am far away from my manager's desk compared to others. So they communicate well among themselves. So information is shared well, circulated well there. But I am not in the distance of what you call hearing, right? I cannot hear what they are saying 100%. So that's why I feel neglected when it comes to receiving good information. This points to a lack of effort in ensuring an inclusive work environment. It is one of the catalysts that turn work culture toxic. According to a report by SHRM, toxic culture costs American companies a fortune, $223 billion in 5 years to be exact. Toxic culture. How to deal with workplace ostracism. Tips for employees. Number one, call it out as it happens. Are you being ostracized or are you just being overly sensitive? The reaction to this action will help you know which one it is, right? Call it out as it happens. Are you being ostracized or are you just being overly sensitive? The reaction to this action will help you know which one it is, and it will also get your point across to the others. Try not to make any assumptions as to why you are being treated in this manner. The reason for their behavior is theirs to deal with. Our job is not to allow their behavior to detract from how we are perceived or how we feel and think about ourselves. Michelle Fleming's What to Do When You Are Brushed Off at Strategy Meetings. Number two, journal your experiences. Putting experiences down in writing creates evidence if you plan to address this to HR. But also, writing is a good release for all of that bottled up stress and anger. To uh, writing is a good release for all of that bottled up stress and anger. All of that bottled up stress and anger. Number three, nurture your life outside of work. Friends, family, exercise, hobbies, religion, each of these provides some much needed perspective, and they also act as a protective wall against negativity at work. How to deal with workplace ostracism. Tips for employers. Number 1, get feedback regularly and often. Subjective stuff like workplace ostracism is hard to measure based on personal conversations alone. However, you can build a more extensive body of data with regular anonymous employee surveys. Tools like a Survey Sparrow are made for this purpose. Number 2, distribute recognition equally. I think this is the remedy. Number 1 remedy. Don't put the burden on employee recognition on management alone. Peer-to-peer recognition like the one we follow at Survey Sparrow enables every employee to praise their coworkers for anything from a job well done to being exceptionally kind, helpful, and thoughtful. This can lessen the ostracized employee's isolation and increase their sense of belonging. Number 3, check your biases. Here's an employee that often plays out at hybrid companies. What do you mean hybrid companies? A team lead frequently assigns critical tasks to in-office team members. She reasons that communication will be faster on-site, so the work will get done faster. But this is actually her hidden bias at play. By doing it often, she unintentionally makes her remote employees feel that they are being excluded because they are not present on site. On site, right? On site. I think there is a lot of biases. We are all biased, disclaimer. But taking the time to understand the bias is worth the effort. In many ways, it can help us spot and address ostracism at work. Wrapping up, each person is different. Drinks Friday night might not be everyone's idea of fun. English might not be everyone's native tongue, but some people do like to listen to that one song on repeat. And some people do like to listen to their song on repeat. That's good expression. But we can still treat everyone professionally and respectfully. That includes not purposely ostracizing someone at work. In today's world, we all have a right to expect that. Parvati Vijaya Mohan, Parvati Vijaya Mohan, growth marketer at Survey Sparrow. Fledgling growth marketer. Okay, fledgling. But I liked your article. It's quite professional, man. Cloud watcher. What do you mean, cloud watcher? You are just lying down on the ground, eating popcorn or popsicle, and look at the sky and observe the clouds. I'm just joking. I like your leisurely minded attitude. Cloud watcher. Auntie to a naughty beagle. I think she lives in Australia, maybe. Auntie, aunt, auntie to a naughty beagle. Oh, okay. That's the beagle dog. What you call a breed is a beagle, naughty beagle, right? Thanks, Parvati Vijaya Mohan. I really liked your article. It's very succinct. You pointed out that ostracism can be quite observable or as obvious or as subtle as not showing or neglecting information among others. I really liked your recommendations about taking care of ostracism. First, we need to write down the events so that it could be a good release for that stressed up, bottled up stress and anxiety, anger, and also constant or evenly spread recognition. You don't have to wait until the right moment, but you can praise your coworkers, colleagues for their attire, for their speech, for their look, or for their small achievements, or recognition of anything. And also, what else? What else? Of course, we sometimes need to do meditation so that we could pinpoint or understand our own biases, because we all are biased. Some people listen to the song on repeat, just distribute recognition equally, get feedback regularly and often. Yeah, meetings are quite important, I think, but meetings should be short and well regulated. It shouldn't be lengthy. It shouldn't be used as a venue to chastise your employees, subordinates, colleagues. It got to be a meeting for getting your points across, or getting information from other employees, or giving or distribute your recognition evenly, or set the goals together, right? It cannot be usurped and used only solely for just rebuking your colleagues, man. So from this article, we learn such expressions as like bottled up. It would be a good release for that bottled up stress and anger. Putting things down in writings is a good measure. And what else? Yeah, evenly spread recognition, right? Distribute recognition equally. To rub salt on the ground. To rub salt on the ground. In other words, in short, biased. Call it out as it happens. Call it out. What is workplace ostracism, right? Workplace ostracism. Effects, resources, employee happiness, employee motivation. In other words, to save this energy, ostracized employees will do their bare minimum to get through the day. Ostracized employees will do the bare minimum to get through the day. The ostracized employees will do their bare minimum to get through the day can be also correct. Ostracized employees will do the bare minimum to get through the day. Yeah, I'm eating some cookies. Effects of ostracism. The result is the same. Invisible teams, employee wellness, muscle tensions, back pains, work culture, right? Work culture, introverts, extroverts. Toxic work culture, turn the work culture toxic, turn work culture toxic, turn work culture toxic. Turn work culture toxic. Call it out as it happens. Call it out as it happens. Call it out as it happens. Feedback, wrapping up. Thanks to you, surveysparrow.com. Everybody, that's good company. And how do you rate my English? Thanks for listening. Take care. Bye-bye. And I have to go to work now. Bye-bye.